Cześć. A zaczyna się nietypowo. Horrory. Obejrzmy sobie. Jakaś rodzina, widać. Kochająca się.
Sometimes, when I make a great effort, I can remember her scent, the sweetness of her breath.
Serena.
The furniture came with the cabin. Considering how off the beaten path my love.
Czemu ona ma taką twarz?
We don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important. The guy who snapped this, our host that night, used an actual film camera. My love. We don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important. The guy who snapped this, our host that night, used an actual film camera. My love. We don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important. The guy who snapped this, our host that night, used an actual film camera. It was a different world back then. My love. We don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important. The guy who snapped this, our host that night, used an actual film camera. My love. We don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important. The guy who snapped this, our host that night, used an actual film camera. My love. We don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important. The guy who snapped this, our host that night, used an actual film camera. It was a different world back then. My love. We don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as a couple, so this one is quite important. The guy who snapped this, our host that night, used an actual... We don't have a lot of photos of ourselves as... Sometimes she would... She always worried about... Yep, guilty as charged. Serena enjoyed spice in our life. I preferred it more bland. We were so different on some points. The table, our dining table. Quite modest, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Coś zrobił.
So much wisdom and happiness in this. The smell of books is intoxicating. What happens to wood pulp as it ages gives it that distinctive... I loved it when we... Most of the books are mine, but all of hers are still here too.
Ja pierdzielę. Creepy.
This way, I guess it's covered with grease and grime from cooking, mostly.
Whoa.
Our refuge from the world. A place of warmth and passion.
With place in the house high. Nie ma on the blue ace. No, jakieś tam...
Come, love,
Jakiś wiersz.
peace in your heart, said Niamh of the ice blue eyes. Something draws me. We use this trunk to store trinkets and papers, but I can't help thinking there's... It's too painful. I want to, but not yet.
Jesteśmy w jakimś pomieszczeniu, ale jak chcę wyjść, to nie?
There's nothing. This door has been creaking for years. One of the many things I promised I would fix.
Chodzimy po takim mieszkaniu.
This used to be her favorite spot. She used to sit here, put her legs on the table, lean back, and just give me one of her smiles. I could tell plenty of stories about this table. To be honest, Once we dragged these chairs out to the lake and scrubbed off all the dust and grime of years. That was a long time ago.
Jakiś
The
klucz.
dining table was well worn. Our dining, I could tell plenty of stories. It's not the healthier. I always plan. The dining table was well worn.
Would you pass me the pepper? You know, you should use it too. It's good for the pressure.
Ło, jaki głos. Przerażający. Ale ja nadal nie jest... Czy jest jakaś patelnia? Ja idę do patelni.
Sharon, I should probably eat. Can't remember the last time I ate. Yet I don't feel hungry.
Jesteś hungry? Okej. Chodź.
Truth be told, not
Czy nie
all the
jesteś?
cooking she did was a resounding success. We agreed to never attempt doing ravioli again.
Co ma
I have
zrobić?
this gut. There's nothing for me out there. This door has been creaking for years. She made this with her own hands. She was really good.
Mam dużo gana ten facet. Strasznie. Ja pierdzielę. Da się widzieć w lusterku?
There's a strand of blonde hair in the comb.
Jakiś grzebień. Halo.
She also had a brush. It's just a regular comb bought from a supermarket, new enough to still hers. There's only an outhouse, and for some reason, whoever erected the rickety thing didn't think to include wall-to-wall mirrors. So, this came in handy.
Ło. Ło, ale że tak robię, okej. Okej.
The ticking begins to feel homey after a while. The first night was
Look, see the pattern of yellow
Aldo.
squares? It's from this rug I remembered from my nursery. I must have been like 3 or 4, but it always stuck with me.
Okej, to jest taki wstęp do tej gry. Widzimy się w następnym odcinku już. I zobaczymy, co dalej będzie. To był tylko taki wstęp. Więc dzięki za oglądanie. Cześć. Nara.
Yeah.